friendly neighbors, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. You have obviously seen the title of this video, or at least I assume you have because you clicked on it and it said the title. Anyway, today we are going to be talking about my top 10 ferret toys. Ferrets are very intelligent animals, and because of that, it's really important to make sure that you have enough toys that they are getting both physical exercise as well as mental stimulation to keep those brains thinking so that they don't just stop using their brains and then they get really bored and then they go and destroy things in your house. Toys are important, is basically what I'm trying to say here. Now, Bryn actually recently released a video on her channel about toys, so make sure that you have checked that video out as well, because we are going to have a bit of different information because we have different ferrets who like different things. And that's the beauty of ferrets, they all have their own personalities. I also do very briefly want to just mention a little bit of toy safety. What's really important to remember with toys is just to make sure that they are ferret safe. There's a lot of toys out there that you absolutely cannot give to your ferrets, so you really want to avoid anything that is rubber that they could very easily chew, swallow, and get a blockage. And it's also just really important to know your ferret. Ferrets are all very individual, and some of them will react to toys in a certain way that other ferrets won't react to. Some ferrets are super destructive and they will rip through holes and destroy and chew and eat everything, and other ferrets just won't do that. You just have to make sure you're keeping an eye on the toys that your ferrets have to make sure that you can put a little mental flag on anything that isn't safe for your ferrets, so you know for the future not to buy something like that. I go through my ferrets' toys pretty often. I do a big clean of all my ferret stuff once a week, and in that time I go through their toys and I check them, and you're just checking for any places that these toys have been torn apart or bitten or they just don't look safe anymore, and just take these toys away immediately. I'm not going to give a safety warning for every toy I go through because it would just get long and repetitive, but just know every toy I go through on this list, except for number 1, is something that does have a blockage risk, a chew risk. When I finish talking about something, mentally be like, oh, remember, there's a chew risk with this, because they all have it. Every single thing you could give your ferret could be dangerous. Just like at any single moment, I could suddenly have a heart attack and die. And sometimes I think about that. It stresses me out. Anyway, I do really briefly just want to mention catnip. Catnip is something that is in a lot of cat toys, and obviously with ferrets, you don't really want to limit yourself to only buying ferret toys because first off, there's really not that much selection when it comes to toys that are specifically geared towards ferrets. Second, most of them are put out by Marshalls, which is a company that we should not support. And third, a lot of these toys are super expensive for really no reason. Now, I spent a long time doing research on catnip, both when I initially got my ferrets and when I was preparing to make this video because I wanted to make sure that I hadn't missed out on any information. And I really cannot find any information on the effects of catnips in ferrets that is like a scientific study and it is scholarly. I don't know what the effects of catnip is on ferrets. What I've been finding just going through forums and looking at just general ferret care websites, a lot of people were saying that catnip just didn't have an effect on ferrets. Their ferrets would interact with it and absolutely nothing would happen. But I did encounter quite a few people claiming that they had personal experience or knew someone who had personal experience that had a ferret exposed to catnip and suffered from a seizure, which sometimes did result in death. I'm not gonna go and say that catnip will make your ferret have a seizure, but I think it's important to be aware that people have claimed that, and so in my opinion, it's not really worth it to risk it. Best case scenario, they're wrong and it doesn't cause a seizure, but the catnip doesn't have an effect on your ferret anyway. Worst case scenario, they're right and your ferret will have a seizure. Let's just collectively agree to not risk it. Okay, I think I've said all the things I needed to say, I think. So I have here a bucket containing, well, some of them don't fit in here. Most of my ferret's favorite toys. We're gonna go through this right now. I'm very excited. I wanted to make this video for a while because I have so many opinions on ferret toys. Let's get to it. I'm gonna put this right here. Ooh, that was loud. Unlike other videos that I've done where I'm doing like a 10 reasons thing, this list is actually ranked, so I'm gonna start at number 10, which is my least favorite out of my favorite toys, all the way to number 1, which I think is the most important toy for every ferret owner, and every ferret should have it. Without further ado, I will actually start this video now. Number 10 is cardboard boxes. Now, cardboard boxes are obviously something that is not very super expensive. And what's great about cardboard boxes is that ferrets love to go inside of them. They like to go on top of them. They like it when you slide them across the floor in them. I don't know why, but they do. And boxes are also really fun because I've seen quite a lot of people online posting fun little like box mansions and stuff that they've made for their ferrets or their cats. If you are gonna make them some sort of like cardboard crazy palace mansion thing, make sure that you don't have any fall risks. Ferrets can get very, very hurt falling off of not super high places, so I would say maybe make it like a long mansion as opposed to a tall mansion. Now, number 9 is a big one. I would say it's probably Nova's favorite, stuffed animals. Now, stuffed animals and plush toys are some of the toys that I think are the most dangerous if you don't get the right sort of thing. It's really important that if you're getting some sort of animal or something, they don't have like the beady glass eyes that some stuffed animals do or whatever those are made of. A ferret that likes to chew might look at these ears and be like, that's a snack. But for our ferrets, these are completely safe. Stuffed toys and stuff like this, you can normally get these at the pet store in the dog or cat section. I also have this one, which Luna really likes. When I first bought this toy for Luna, I didn't realize that it made a noise, and the first time that I heard the noise for it, I had no idea what it was, and I was panicking. But when you shake it, it sounds like this. And Luna is all about that. It wakes me up in the middle of the night pretty much every night. So stuffed animals are also really good for ferrets that like to stash. That's pretty much all that Nova does with her stuffed animals is she finds a spot that she wants them to be in and she spends an hour taking all of her toys from their old spot to this new spot, and then for an hour she's entertained, and then she doesn't do anything with them for another month. Stuffed animals. Number 8 is something that you guys have probably been recommended a lot because most people agree that these are great for ferrets, and those are little jingly cat balls. Isn't that fun? So there's a bunch of different types of these that you can get. You can get these ones pretty much everywhere. They've just got a little bell in a cage. But the ones that I find my ferrets really like look exactly like this. So they also have a little bell in them, but they're like covered in this hard plastic sort of material. And what I think the ferrets prefer about these ones as opposed to these ones is that they have a much easier time biting down onto this and going and taking it somewhere. These toys are great because my ferrets enjoy both stashing them, rolling them around on the floor, playing with them. Luna really, she loves that. She loves the little jingle. Where did she put it? I had all of these toys in a bin, and I'm about to bring out Andromeda's favorite one, and she got into the bin like 5 minutes before I was gonna film, and now she's hidden it. And now I'm gonna stand up, and you're all gonna see that I'm actually wearing pajama bottoms because I didn't change my pants. Where is it? Oh my god. Babe, did Andy bring her Pong out here? Where did you put your toy? Andromeda! Oh, I found it! It's under their cage! Number 7 is obviously Andromeda's favorite toy, so I'm glad you guys got to experience that with me. So it is actually a very specific type of toy that I just found that I really love. It's this little Kong toy. And I don't know what it is about this, but Andromeda would die if she didn't have this toy, I think. She is so addicted to it. So it is a squeaky toy, so it makes the squeaky noise. This one is actually a dog toy. So there's a couple different versions of this. It's called the Wubba Kong. There's a couple different versions of it. You can get a cat one, but the cat one, I went and looked at it at the store, and first off, it had catnip in it, which was the big problem with it. And second off, it just wasn't as sturdy. The fabric in this toy is so sturdy. And so Nova did get a hold of this one, and she chewed it a tiny bit, which she normally doesn't do. So I think it was just this specific fabric of this toy. And you can see at the top here that it's fraying a little bit. But even though it's fraying, the fabric that this toy is made of is just so durable that like you can't even pull any of this frayed fabric out. Like it's so sturdy and stuck together. I really, really like this toy. But I really do recommend this toy if you have non-destructive ferrets. This one's like a really, really good one. Andromeda likes it so much that she literally drags it with her wherever she goes. Like if she's gonna go sleep in a specific corner, she will take this toy with her and go sleep. We have to take it out of their cage pretty much every night because she drags it into her cage and sleeps with it there. Oh, side note, I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the video. Don't leave toys in your ferrets' cages because when they're in their cage, they're at a higher risk of becoming bored. And when ferrets are bored, that's when they chew things. So it's really unsafe to leave toys in your cage. Your ferrets should be getting at least 6 hours of free roam a day. I really do recommend closer to 10 hours a day personally. So if they're getting that time, then they're not going to be bored because they're going to get all their energy out when they're not in their cage. And then when they're in their cage, they're just going to be sleeping. So they don't need toys anyway. Anyway, back to the list. Next toy. Oh, that landed perfectly in the basket. I didn't even plan for that. Number 6 is another one that you guys have probably seen on a lot of lists because it is a very, very popular toy for ferrets, and that is dryer tubes. Here's an image of them. I'm inserting that later. Dryer tubes are something that are super, super cheap. You can get them at absolutely any hardware store in a variety of different lengths, in a variety of different colors. They're so great. I love them so much. You can also buy a similar product from Marshalls. 2 things about it. First off, don't support Marshalls. Don't buy from them, so why would you buy it anyway? Second off, it is super, super expensive. It's like $35 or something, even though you could go to the hardware store and get the same thing for $5, so I don't know why you would do that. I will add a third thing. I lied about there only being 2. The only big difference with this one is that it is clear. So some people are like, oh, but I want to see my ferrets playing. I mean, I get it, I guess, but it's not something that's actually going to make a difference to your ferret. It's literally just for you, the ability to see it. And I just think that the cons really outweigh the pros of I can see my ferrets. I don't know, that's just how I feel about it. So I don't actually have dryer tubes. I did used to have a bunch of them, but you do have to replace them because the ferrets can tear at them and sometimes they break depending on the quality of them. But I do have something extremely similar, this tube right here. Now this is a tube that was actually a piece of a costume for a production of Alice in Wonderland that I assistant costume designed for. So these were actually the legs of Humpty Dumpty. And after the production ended, I went up to the costume shop manager, who was my boss at the time, and I was like, "Show those legs, though. You gonna use those again?" So I have one, and my old roommate has the other one for her boys, Tulio and Altivo, and our ferrets love these. They are like literally amazing. You can't go wrong with tubes like this. Ferrets go nuts for them. Now, number 5 is one that I actually found out about on accident. After my old roommates and I had a party and there was some beer pong going on and we didn't properly clean up as well as we should have the next day, and so there were ping pong balls left on our hardwood floors, and our ferrets went bananas for these ping pong balls. Ping pong balls are an amazing toy, and I really think that every single ferret owner should have these. They are super cheap, first off, and they are virtually indestructible. I really don't see how these could be not safe for any ferret. Because the thing about ping pong balls is that they're super hard, and ferrets can't, well, maybe if you have a very big ferret, they could get their mouth all the way around it, but I have never met a ferret that has a big enough mouth to get it all the way around this ping pong ball. And now I'm gonna have someone in my comment section being like, "You crazy, my ferrets can get their mouth all the way around it." I'm sorry, I've never experienced that. We live life differently, okay? So ping pong, I don't know why I have so much, I'm so high energy for this video. Like, it's good. Like, I promise I'm not on anything. I'm just really happy today. I don't know. Okay, so ping pong balls. Yes, they're really great. Ferrets love to chase them around the hardwood floors. I like to bounce them, and then it makes like a kind of loud noise, and they like to chase after them. They're just also really cute to watch your ferrets play with because, like I said, they can't really get their mouths around them, so they're just like chasing them around. I've only had experience with using them on hardwood floors, so it might be a little different on carpet. I don't really know. And you can also use these in combination of another toy we're going to talk about in a little bit, and I think it works really well. Now, an alternative to ping pong balls that is sort of the same idea, but in my opinion not as good, is like little ball pit balls. So these ones are ones that I got at the dollar store. It was like $3 for like 20 of them or something. And they're okay. The problem with them is that unlike the ping pong balls, they're not super hard, so like I can crush that. Oh god, can I get it back? See, now I just ruined this one already, so we can't even use it anymore. Ferrets can also puncture them pretty easily because it's a pretty soft plastic, so they can bite into them. So my advice is, if you have those, just make sure you're keeping a close eye on your ferrets and that you go through them and check them every once in a while. I recommend just going with the ping pong balls if you're gonna go down that route. Now, number 4 is another one that most ferret owners understand and buy because they are great, and that is teaser toys. And you can get them in a bunch of different styles. So this is one that Andromeda and Alara actually had at their first home, and it's a really cute little mouse, and it makes a noise. And Andromeda and Alara really like this one. It's got like a weirdly long, I don't understand why this part of the toy is so long. I don't know. But yes, teaser toys are really great. You can buy them at like the dollar store even. In our house, we don't let the ferrets have access to these toys unless we're playing with them with the toy, just because there's a lot of things that they can chew on and swallow, and you don't want that. Oh boy, we're ready for it. Okay. Number 3 is Luna's favorite toy. Did I already say something was her favorite? Oh yeah, the little ball things. They're both her favorites. She can have 2 favorites. Number 3 is blankets. Look at this cute blanket. It's got little puppies on it. I got it at the dollar store. Blankets are one of the cheapest things that you can buy to keep your ferret entertained. You probably don't even have to buy them. I guarantee that you've got a linen closet in your house and you've got like at least 3 blankets in there that haven't seen the light of day in at least 5 years. Use those, they'll be great. Ferrets love blankets for so many different reasons. They love to just go tunneling underneath them. They love to sleep in them. They love to play with their friends in them, where one ferret is underneath and the other one's on top of it, and then they'll just like attack each other through the blanket. It's so cute. They love going on what I call magic carpet rides, where they'll just like hop onto it and they just want you to walk around the room with them sitting on it. I don't understand why it's fun, but to them it's fun, and I'm not gonna judge what they find fun unless it's something really weird, and then I'll judge them a lot. But they're my daughters, so I think if anyone has the right to judge them, I do. I have to go get number 2 because it's big. I'll be right back. Hold tight. Okay, it's the dig box. Okay, this is the dig box. I can't. It's too heavy, I'm putting it down. Number 2 is the dig box. That was really heavy. Dig boxes are super, super popular for ferret owners. It's essentially just a tub. I bought mine at Walmart, and then you can put a variety of different things in it, and ferrets will dig in it and have a super good time. So yeah, you can really fill it with pretty much anything. I use rice, but I've also before used dehydrated black beans. Some people use just like flat out dirt, which is great, but it's really, really messy. Little ball pit balls, like I said, as talked about those earlier. You could use little balls. Pretty much anything you can use, so long as it's not something that your ferret is going to eat. And obviously, if you see your ferret eating these, don't let them have it, take it away from them. Just make sure that if you are gonna fill it with something, make sure you've done your research and you know if it is or isn't safe. Pretty quick, easy Google search will tell you. My ferrets like to play this fun little game where I will bury their ping pong balls inside of the dig box, and then they have to like dig and find the ping pong balls. It is so cute. Luna and I play that almost nightly at this point. And we have finally got to the number 1 toy for ferrets. I think every single ferret owner should have this toy for their ferret. This is a mandatory toy in my opinion. Number 1 is another ferret. Ferrets are extremely social animals. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars on toys for your ferret, and you can spend every waking minute with your ferret, but none of that is going to compensate for the companionship that another ferret will give to your ferret. Ferrets were bred to be social. They are not meant to live alone. Having more than 1 ferret not only keeps your ferret happy, but it also helps with behavioral problems, training issues. It is super easy for a ferret by themselves to become depressed, and depression can lead to your ferret starving themselves, which can lead to death. It is not uncommon for a ferret who has recently lost their partner to become depressed and stop eating. And that's exactly what happens when you take a ferret from its family, from its siblings, and bring it into your home and there isn't another ferret for that baby to share its life with. When I talk to people about the needs of social animals, and this really goes beyond ferret, it goes for any animal that is social, I like to bring up what I call the alien analogy. Let's take our imagination bus here. So imagine that you are kidnapped by aliens aliens for whatever reason. So you're taken by aliens into outer space, and these aliens provide you with everything you could ever want. They give you food, water, they are constantly lavishing you in attention, but you don't have another human being with you. Physically, you're okay, but imagine what it's like to never talk to another human being ever again. That is what happens when you have a lone ferret. Imagine how depressing that would be. Like, I know that there's a lot of people out there who joke about being like, oh, I'm a loner, I hate other people. But psychologically, people and any animal that is social thrives in a situation where they have another species like them to experience life with and to be with. I am not going to deny the fact that there are ferrets out there that are lone ferrets. It happens. But often the reason that these ferrets are lone ferrets is because they were taken away from other ferrets and not socialized for so long that they forgot how to interact with other ferrets and therefore can't be introduced to them. So that situation wouldn't have happened if they weren't a lone ferret in the first place. And I'm speaking completely from personal experience with this. When I first got Luna, she was a lone ferret and she didn't have a buddy. And I was researching online and I found so many people recommending to get a second ferret because ferrets shouldn't be alone. And that's what led me to adopting Nova. Pretty much the second I brought Nova into my home, Luna, I just saw such a huge difference in her. She became so much happier, she duked so much more, she was much more willing to be trained, and she even had a stronger connection with me because she was in such a happier state of mind that she was willing to make that bond with her owner. And I'm sorry if this seems harsh to any prospective ferret owners out there or anyone who does have a lone ferret, but in my opinion, if you can't get more than one ferret for whatever reason it is, you should not get a ferret. Because saying I want to get a ferret but I can only get one is like saying I want to get a fish but I can't get a fish tank. If you are someone who has a lone ferret and you've watched this video and you're gonna go do your research and realize, yes, I do want to get another ferret, you actually picked a really good time to do this. I just adopted 2 new ferrets, Andromeda and Alara, and I am documenting everything that I go through with getting these new ferrets, and I'm posting videos on it all about what you need to do when you get a new ferret and how to bring them into a household that already has a ferret or other ferrets. Please go check those videos out. And again, I am sorry if what I just said upset some people because I know there are people out there with lone ferrets who think that their ferret is fine being by itself, and we are just gonna disagree on that. I'm backing my opinion with science and ferret psychology. You are backing your opinion with your feelings, So I got really opinionated and kind of emotional there. That's what happens when I think about what it would be like if a ferret didn't have a buddy though, because they so badly need a buddy. Anyway, I hope that this video helped anyone out who maybe wants to get ferrets but wanted some ideas for toys, or maybe someone who already has ferrets but is like, I need enrichment for my ferret. Hopefully this helped you out a little bit. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I will see you guys next week for another video where I talk about ferrets or I do something ferret related. I don't know what it is. I haven't planned that far ahead yet. Goodbye.